Hey everybody, this is Joshua Lewis with The Remnant Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a great guest in studio with me today. I've got Jeremy Donovan. We're going to be talking about poverty in culture, in the church, and how the church can go about addressing those issues. It's going to be a great program. You guys stay tuned. So that's Remnant Radio in a nutshell, and with me in studio is Jeremy Donovan. How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
It's good to have you on.
Good to see you.
I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, me too.
So, okay, you're here at 818. We've talked about 818. For those of you who are watching this video, this is one of a couple that we've done. It's based pretty well out of this book called The Dream King with Will Ford and Matt Lockett. The conference is all about racial reconciliation and the dream of Martin Luther King, how the sons of former slave owners and the sons of former slaves would come together at the table of brotherhood. That's what the book is about, and it's really what spurred on this conference. So if you share this video, you'll be entered to win this book, and we will mail it to you. Jeremy's one of the speakers here at the conference. We're really excited to have you on the program, and we're going to be talking about poverty and how the church can address that. Before we get into the program, I want you to introduce yourself, though. Who are you? What are you doing? And how do people get connected with your ministry?
Cool. My name's Jeremy, like you said, Jeremy Donovan, and I'm a pastor here at Trinity Church, actually. I've been in youth ministry for about 20 years, and about 3 years ago, I started going into the inner cities of Dallas and hanging out in the projects. I grew up in the Philadelphia area, so it was like, I'm always drawn to like inner city stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. And so about 2 years ago, I started going hanging out in the projects here in Dallas and with the kids and stuff. And I just really felt like God was drawing me out of youth ministry and into a new season, basically. Yeah. So God lined things up, even with my Pastor Jim Hennessy. Mm-hmm. He aligned things up to where we were able to launch a church in that area that we could do bus ministry and help these kids and that sort of stuff. So for the last 2 years, I've been, there in the inner city, launching this church with some amazing leaders, different things like that. So I also still do young adults here, so I'm doing the young adults ministry here. I did write a book. It's on addiction. It's called The Hard Way, and it's on addiction. And so you can hear the conference in the background if you're wondering what that is. So. But yeah, so that's kind of me and who I am, and just having a good time here.
That's good, man. Okay, cool. So I'm excited to have you on the program. Your book's on addiction. What was it called, and where do people get it?
It's on Amazon. It's called
Okay.
The Hard Way, and
Okay.
it's basically about addiction, but it's really for anybody that's dealing with any type of bondage in their life of any sort, even poverty, which we're talking about.
Sure.
It's kind of my story as I came out of addiction and just a really hard life. And so it's basically the steps I took to get free and get to where I am. And I think those steps help other people as well.
Awesome. Cool. Well, it's going to be a cool program. We're talking about poverty. Poverty, it can be something enforced upon by demonic spirits. It can be something that we put ourselves into the situation. It can be a bad hand of cards that we're dealt. My dad was laid off during 9/11. Soon after, I think I got my first job at 14 at Chapa Grill, paying bills for the family. I got a worker's permit, that kind of thing. So I understand the situational. We got ourselves into this situation, or we didn't get ourselves, but circumstances took place, and we find ourselves in poverty, and We're working our way out of it. When you talk about poverty, you talk about the inner city. We're talking about not just one family. We're talking about entire communities that have the cards stacked against them. This is such a broad issue. How do we as the church start addressing these kinds of things?
I always tell people, and again, poverty, I'm called to the inner city, but I mean, there's deep poverty in rural areas that are just as bad, and I don't think poverty sees race. I don't think it sees. I do think that there are different races deal with it differently. Mm-hmm. We were poor at times in my life, but I do think that being a white male, it was easier for me to go out and get a job than some of the black kids that I deal with and that are family to me now. Like, I've noticed it's harder for them. Mm-hmm. They'll go apply for jobs for months, and then if I dress up in a suit and cover up my tattoos, I'll go in with them, and we'll give him a job if you say he's good. So, but I think the biggest way the church can help with poverty, and I always say this, that I think with poverty the biggest problem is not money, it's relationship. And a lot of people in poverty don't have the relationships that they need to get the jobs that can help them. So, for instance, if I was fired from Trinity, which I'm not going to
Praise
be,
God.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
So, but if I was, I have relationships. I have friends.
Yeah.
I have people that I can call, and that I can get a job above minimum wage really quickly. A lot of these people don't have those relationships. But if the church, which is just an amazing, amazing organization, obviously because Jesus built it, created it.
That's right.
And he created it for reasons like that. So if the church would get out of themselves a little bit and go into these areas, their just simple relationships with people could shift poverty.
That's good.
Because then it gives our friends that, I mean, and the crazy thing is, I know this, I've looked, but just about anywhere in America, you're about 20 minutes away from extreme poverty, no matter where you live.
Absolutely.
It's in your backyard. There's kids that are starving. I mean, we feed 150 kids a week now, and with our church, and these kids are hungry. I had a girl come Wednesday night, and she just laid down. She said, "Pastor, I don't feel good. I'm tired," and it's because she hadn't eaten in 2 days. And so, as soon as we gave her food, she immediately went into the church program and had a good time. So, it's right there, and it's like as people. I want to say Americans, but that's where we are. So as Americans, a lot of times we drive by these things. We don't pay attention. We don't make ourselves available for relationship.
So how much does it cost for you guys to do that?
We have amazing volunteers. We get donations of food and stuff. So we figured it out. I mean, it's sometimes we've had different restaurants that have given and stuff. So, but on average, when we average it out through the year, it's about $200 to $300 a week to feed the kids.
How do people give to that?
So, they can go to Trinity.
We've got a lot of cool things that we could say today, but that's pretty important. So let's get that out of the way.
If you go to Trinity, trinitychurch.org, and you just look for the Fair Meadows option, you can give to the Fair Meadows and just designate it for food ministry or children's ministry, and all of that goes directly to the kids, directly to the food ministry. Because we do other things as well. We do backpacks, and that's another thing. I've said this very often. A huge divide in America is education. Kids with money get better education, and kids without money don't. And you're like, well, they get teachers, it's public schools. Yeah, but a lot of our kids don't get to go to school with the new shoes, with the new pencils, with the backpack supplies, that sort of thing. Like, I have kids that they're not set up to do their schoolwork. And so we have a reading program right now that we've started. We call it the Grandma Squad. It's a bunch of grandmas that they actually go into the projects literally twice a week, and they teach reading because the kids are so far behind on that. And so it creates this cycle of poverty because of education.
So the church, so I've said this a couple times, I have worked at and are working at both liberal and conservative churches where both pastors were black, and they have this, one has a more liberal leaning to the way that they view politics, one has a more conservative view to how they lean towards politics. I brought this up with a few of my speakers. So it's not a race thing, right? But there's an issue of poverty that takes place, and both of them would address that differently.
Right.
How can we address the issue of poverty without making it about politics?
I've told people before, because obviously we're in a political time. I mean,
it's so charged.
Insanity. Yeah. But when you really get into it, when you really get into the communities, when you get into, I get to do a lot of these conferences and stuff, and I always experience Jesus here, but I never experienced Jesus more deeply than when I'm looking into a kid in need that needs food and different, like that's those moments where I experience Jesus the most. And in those moments, I could give two cruds about politics, honestly. Like when people are like, where do you lean? Are you liberal or conservative? I'm dealing with starving
I'm for
kids.
Food.
Yeah. And they need food as much as they need Jesus.
That's good.
I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, bunk all the politics. I don't care. I mean, I have people that are non-Christians that are doing so much in our community that I'm with them, man, because they're helping people, you know? And so Jesus was about people.
Yes.
He wasn't about politics. In fact, I think when you read through it, he really kind of made them mad,
How does the church address, so we've got tons of churches, they might not be next to or in an inner city area with starving kids, but they're at least 20, 30 minutes from them, especially in the Metroplex. How do we as a church start rallying around that? Is there a way? Because I know there's like that political thing with churches, like, I don't want that church to succeed. That means I'm succeeding less. There's that weirdness.
Yeah.
How do we as a church kind of start getting over that? Are you partnering with other churches? Are they able to help you guys out?
There's amazing churches like 1132 Church with Pastor Dustin Bates and different churches in the area that have really surrounded me and said, we're going to help, we're going to partner with you, we're going to be a part of it. And because it's a kingdom thing. Yeah. It shouldn't be a church thing, but also when you go really into it, I mean, it's a different world. You know, I had a church consultant come in. He's like, man, you need to hang more LED lights and stuff. And I'm like, I look at every LED light as another kid I can feed. Like, it's not something that we're not trying to impress people. It's a different world. But I think for churches that are in suburban communities that are doing well right now, go partner with somebody. Yeah. Most inner city ministries are struggling. And they're hurting, and even we are, because people always say, well, you got this, you've got Trinity, you've got different people partnering with you. I've got popular people that are that have voices that are partnering with you. Like, what do you need? And honestly, even in America, the need is so great that it's at this point it's never met.
Even these people who are funding into it, they're pouring it. Everyone's giving 3 times what you needed for a week. That's just for 150. Yeah. There are more kids that are hungry than that.
Absolutely. Wow. And for instance, too, like the need is so great. Like I was explaining when I first got into this, I didn't understand it as well as I do now. Yeah. I understand poverty so much better in the last 2 years.
We're talking about Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a city.
It has one of the richest zip codes in America in Highland Park, and also one of the poorest zip codes in America in Oak Cliff. So, and they're 10 minutes from each other. And it's unbelievable to me. But so for instance, we started giving out food. But then we realized a lot of these single moms, they don't have pots and pans. So we got to get pots and pans. We got to get, the need is unbelievable. And right now I've adopted, I'm doing it in kind of a pointed way. So I've adopted 2 neighborhoods fully, where we have changed those neighborhoods. And if a family lives in those neighborhoods, I take it as my responsibility that those kids live well. I felt like the Lord told me, do not treat these kids any different than you treat your own. And so that's how I treat them. I mean, I have 3 beautiful babies. Yeah. And when I give things to these children in their city, it's things that I would give my own kids. Come on. You know what I mean? And so, but those are 2 neighborhoods in Oak Cliff. And I drive by hundreds. I mean, there's so many, and it's like that in every city. So I would say to a pastor, find somebody to partner with that you can help, or start something. Yeah. If you have the money, if you have the ability. There's mega churches all over America. When I look at a mega church, it's probably somebody over 1,000. But even churches at like 500, you can send some people that have a heart for this, and it'll change your life.
So how do you? And this is the question that I always ask people when we talk about something that's topical. The gospel. I mean, I know so many ministries who they'll feed. So important. Don't want to downplay that at all. No. Because whether they get saved or not, that's the ministry of Christ. You go and you bring food to the widow, the orphan. That's religion, right? The good kind. But a lot of ministries' concern is we are taking these people, whether they're homeless, whether they're hurting and needing, we're giving them food. But we don't find a convenient way of bringing the gospel to them. It's like they bounce or whatever. Like, do you guys have a plan? Do y'all have a way? Do y'all see something taking place when it comes to gospel roots?
Yeah, there's multiple things I see with that. So when I was a kid in Philadelphia, we used to make. I was a pastor's kid, so we used to make sandwiches. Yeah. And every Saturday night we'd go down and we'd feed the homeless people, and we'd hand out sandwiches. It was fun. But I remember at 16 years old, I looked at my dad and I was like, we go down there and we feed these people and it's fun, but I think it's more about us than them. Yep. Like it makes
us feel good.
Yeah, we go home, we're like, yeah, that was awesome, and blah, blah, blah. But we don't know their names. We don't see them but once a week, and then we go back to our life. And so I'm not saying that it was a bad thing. I mean, I think that
they appreciated that sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And anything, but if you're really trying to make a difference, you've got to know their names. You've got to be in their community. So the neighborhoods I've adopted, I'm there at least 3 times a week, just hanging out in the community, just getting to know the kids' names, getting the mother's names, know their stories, know who they are, finding. We found multiple parents that need furnished, like they're sitting in these government housing with no couches, no tables, no beds. Their kids are sleeping on the floor. Wow. So we're learning their stories, and I think the big impact is giving them 2 feet to stand on, helping the moms find jobs, helping them find education. We've partnered with community colleges that will actually give the moms bus tickets to get to the community college and further their education, get their GED and that sort of thing. So we are giving them the fish, but we're also teaching them how to fish, the best that we can. Not everybody wants to do it. But the other part is this: whether you hand out food, whether you see results or not, I always say you can never judge. You can never judge the results that you see on earth with the results that are in heaven.
Yeah.
Because the heaven impact you're making is way bigger than any result you'll see on earth.
Yeah.
And then also one of my heroes in the inner city is Matthew Barnett, and I was actually talking to him 2 summers ago, and I said, what do you do with people that you just keep giving to and you keep helping and you just feel like, man, am I getting taken advantage of? And he said something so profound to me, and I'll never forget it, and it's changed me and my feelings towards it. But he said, if you're gonna be a bridge of hope, you've got to be willing to be walked on.
Man, it's good.
And so I don't question people's motives anymore.
Yeah.
If they say they need something, I'm going to help. Yeah, because that's my job is to do what Jesus told me to do, not worry about what their reaction is or how they take it.
It's good, man. So we've got like 3 minutes left in the program. Give us one more time books you've written, content you've developed, how people can connect with you.
You can connect with me on social media. It's just Jeremy Donovan on almost all the social media. Like I said, I did write a book. It's on Amazon and a couple other websites. It's a good book if you have people that really are fighting to get free from something.
Yeah.
And then I'm around, man.
Yeah.
You can email me at jdonovan@trinitychurch.org. I find those sometimes.
So last quick question. Okay, again, 2 minutes, 3 minutes ish. So how does this poverty wrap into what we're doing in this conference? We're talking about racial reconciliation. Can the poverty? Does this poverty issue affect racial reconciliation? Do you think that the way that people maybe in more affluent places look at people who are not in those affluent places? Wrestling with this issue of poverty, do you think this will affect racial reconciliation?
I think race. I think I'm not afraid to say that most of the people that I run into, there are white people in poverty, but most of the people I run into that are in poverty, extreme poverty, are of different color than me. That so I think that a big thing, as a white man, that I felt like the Lord told me was that really, I feel like God told me they need to see a white man serve them. Go.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of reconciliation, when it's not like, hey, we love you, we want to figure out, but no, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to do what I can to make sure that you make it. And so, yeah, I think it definitely helps with racial reconciliation, just by loving people. I know that seems so simple, but Jesus said it was the greatest. You know? And so when you truly, truly love somebody, and you love people of different color, different races, I disagree with the whole God's colorblind. I think God made beautiful people with different colors. I think it's okay to celebrate that. Yeah. I always joke and say I'm glad not everybody's white, because then we would have no flavor on our food. You know what I mean? Like we need different races and stuff. And so it's just important, and it's important for no matter what color you are. If you've been given, like if you're in a home and you don't worry about where you get food, and you have 2 cars, it's important for you to wake up to what's in your backyard.
Yeah.
I don't want to get to heaven and have Jesus go, you missed it.
Man.
I gave you so much and you held it to yourself.
Talks about standing knee deep in ashes, right? That's all going to burn anyway.
Absolutely. And I love missions trips, and people are spending thousands of dollars to go across, and I do it, but it's right here.
Yeah.
It's right here.
So give me that $1,000. Don't build a mud hut roof.
Do both, really.
For 6 weeks.
There's enough money in America to do both. I'm not against either one, but I feel like a lot of people are like, man, I'm going overseas to do missions, and they never do anything in their home.
Yeah.
And do something here. Do something where you're at, whatever city you're in.
That's good. So. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week to this episode of The Remnant Radio. Very excited, honored to have you, Jeremy, Donovan.
Oh, it's okay.
I think I tried to put Jeremy and Donovan together.
That's cool. I like
Donovan.
it. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you're new to The Remnant Radio, you can check us out on all of our social platforms: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, Facebook. If you feel led to donate to the ministry, you can do it at theremnantradio.com. But if you're watching this video, I pray to God that you're giving to homeless kids and not our ministry, so that we can
give the both. Help these guys out. They're doing a good thing.
You guys be blessed. If you want to check out the conference, 818thesign.org. You can watch the live stream there, but if you want to get your registration, you can come in and be at the conference this evening and for tomorrow's session until 3. We got panels, speakers, all kinds of stuff. So you guys want to check it out. See you next time.